concerning the topic of addiction, what are some things you would like to say? What kind of advice would you like to give to someone right now that might watch this who is struggling with addiction?
I mean, get help. I mean, because you can't beat it on your own. I remember I tried, it didn't work. I tried beating it on my own, it didn't work. And also, don't give up when you fail. Because when I got sober, I quit the drugs, the alcohol. I still struggled with pornography for the first 2 years of my Christian walk. I did, and that was a battle. I mean, pornography is an addiction at a whole nother level, I think. And even tobacco, that was a struggle too, because essentially addiction is idolatry. You're just worshiping something other than Jesus, and idolatry will take forms, and it'll manifest itself in many different ways. Sometimes it's drugs and alcohol, sometimes it's online shopping. I mean, it depends. Main advice would be to get some help. Know that you're not alone, and know that there are people out there who won't be shocked by your junk.
Yeah, we all have junk, and we often like to think that our junk is less than other people's junk.
It's not.
But yeah, everybody's got their own story, and you mentioned earlier, everybody has, they dig a hole, and when they're ready to stop digging, that's when they hit bottom.
Right.
The bottom for some people may be really shallow.
Yeah.
The bottom for other people may be incredibly deep.
Yeah.
In getting help, you don't want to be afraid to ask for it and to be honest. One of my big things I've said in other videos is you don't get your life straightened out so you can go to church. You go to church so that God can help you get your life straightened out. And so it's important to be honest, it's important to be upfront, but it's also important for the church to say, when people come to us with their struggles, we've got to commit to helping them. And unfortunately, a lot of times when people open up about their struggles in church, the church says, whoa, that's unfamiliar. I'm not sure how to handle that. And instead of going, let's figure it out, they go, I'm just going to back off. We don't need to back off. We need to give the proper help. And concerning addiction, where you have these very genuine, very real struggles, we have to recognize as a church that there's a time for discipline, but there's also a time to come along and support someone who doesn't want to be continuing down the same path anymore. So what would you say for advice to someone who maybe knows somebody who's addicted to something? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, this falls into the area of the ever difficult area, balancing grace and truth. Because like you said earlier, you don't want to abandon, but you don't want to enable either. So I'll just give it a practical example, because my parents did this quite well. My parents actually approached this so well to where my counselors in treatment thought they were lying for about the first month. And they didn't do that on their own. When I was going through addiction, they went to their pastor, they went to families, they went and they sought help from other people, so there's a whole different side to this story that isn't even being told in this video, and that's my parents' side. But something that they did, I remember when I called my dad from jail, I asked him, Dad, I'm in jail, can you come bail me out? He said no. So I think that's the truth, where he's like, I'm not bailing you out, you need to pay the consequence for driving while intoxicated. He didn't. But then I also said, I need help. He said, okay, let's go to treatment. So I think in that we see my father telling me, no, I'm not gonna bail you out, I'm not gonna support that, I'm not gonna enable you, but since you are asking for help, I'm gonna pave this way for the treatment.
You faced your own consequences, but your parents said, there is another way, and we want to help you down that path.
Exactly. So it's enabling somebody down the right path and not the wrong path. And that's tricky. That's easier said than done, and that's difficult. I mean, it's so difficult to the point where when I asked my mother for $5 for food during my addiction, she told me no. And I can only imagine the difficulty as a mother to deny your baby son, which I'm the youngest, so no matter how old I am, I'm her baby.
Yeah.
So denying me a simple $5 for food, but she knew that if she gave me $5 for, even if they were to take me to McDonald's and buy the food, that they knew that if I had $5, I had a choice to spend between food or alcohol, and I'm going to choose alcohol every single day. So if they feed me, then that's $5 more for drugs.
Right.
And so it's those difficult, and that's hard. And some parents think that that's neglecting their kids and that that's abandoning them, and it just and of course each context is different, and the balance of grace and truth will play itself out differently depending on the scenario. But yeah, I think that jail example provides kind of an
sometimes
example.
you love your kids,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do what's best for your kids, but sometimes what's best for your kids is hardest for you as a parent.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's where I think it becomes difficult for a lot of people. They want to help their kid, or they want to help their cousin or their uncle, or the next door neighbor, whoever the person is, right? They want to help that person, but sometimes the way they think is best to help actually hurts the person. And the way they need to help the person may be difficult for them to do, because it requires them to sort of sacrifice what they see as doing a good thing. What, it's just food, he just needs food.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you give him the food, then you're enabling this other thing over here. And you have to look at the big picture, and you go, if I really want to help them, I've just got to back off. Sometimes. So yeah, again, every context, every situation is different.
It's different. I mean, I knew people that I went to treatment with that had been in treatment 12, 13 times. I started talking to them, getting to know them, and they're like, yeah, my parents sent me here again. And it was this attitude of their parents are sending them to treatment again, so they just got to do their 90-day stint again, and then get out and go do drugs. They don't want help. They didn't want that.
Right.
And so my parents, they did send me to treatment, but it was from a position of me asking them to help, because they knew that if they just wrote a check and sent, one treatment's expensive, so you didn't want to send it 12 times. But they knew that if they just sent me there demanding me to go, that there would be no lasting change. And so it took patience and it took trust. Again, they have their own journey of trusting God through all of this, and it's a trivial saying, but let go and let God. We bounce that around a lot, but when we really ponder what that means on this situation, my parents really had to let go and say that, you know what, he's not our child. Ultimately, he's God's child.
Yeah.
And that God will take care of him.
Yeah, very good, very good. Well, Alex, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you for
time.
having me.
I appreciate you being here. I hope this video has been helpful. I know that when Christians deal with issues of things like addiction, oftentimes what happens is there's always a root issue. And if you go, if I just get over this addiction, you're going to end up replacing that addiction with another addiction. There's always going to be something else. It is the idolatry, just like you were talking about. If you are just trying to put a Band-Aid over the root issue, you're just going to find some other thing to be that problem. And to really overcome addiction, I think, first of all, you need to recognize that it's bigger than you. You need to recognize that it takes more than just you doing it yourself to get the help you need. It takes an entire family of people to make it happen. And the third thing is, if you really want purpose and fulfillment in life, I believe that comes from having a loving relationship with God, the creator of the universe, who holds everything together, but who also created each individual person and cares for each individual person as an individual, but also as a human being, and being part of the humanity that God created in His own image. And so if you have questions or further comments about this in the video, please feel free to make those known in the comments section, and we'll see you next time on Faith and Culture Now. Thank you.